Hey guys, it's Broken Beanie TV here, and today I'm going to be giving you a SJW cringe compilation. Try to stay away from that bottle of bleach because you're probably going to be needing it because there's just too much cancer in this. But hopefully you have a laugh and enjoy this video.
Okay, to be fair, these are not administration, these are students, these are 20-year-olds who are reacting, and it's a very racially charged environment. You know, words matter, and so when that letter was sent on behalf of an administration official, somebody who's supposed to represent the students, to create, you look at the documents that Yale sends out, the application documents, and it's all about having an inclusive community.
This guy was defending Halloween!
Well, he wasn't defending Halloween, he was defending being offensive.
That just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit. Fuck. Oh my.
To a community of people that are being marginalized. I mean, 7% of the Yale...
He was saying if you want to go as Tatiana, the frog princess, you should be allowed to...
Try again, dickhead.
No. He was acknowledging that someone who shows up in blackface, it's okay, it's a joke. And listen, there are the stereotypes, there's plenty of stereotypes that we have changed over time. Things that would now be totally unacceptable. We had this debate about things 10 years ago.
Gender expression would be offensive if you want. So
well,
a guy dressed up as a female nurse.
That's not for white people to determine. That's not. These things are not for the people who are doing it to determine. It is for those who feel hurt. If you feel hurt,
selectively offended get to run the rest of the country. I mean, this is what we are creating. We are creating a society of panty-waist fascists. What we are creating is a group of people who are oversensitive to everything and then are willing to call the cops as soon as they are offended. It's actually incredible, and it's a violation of the First Amendment, which you saw with a professor from the Mass Communications Department at Missouri telling reporters that they have no right to be there, and at Yale you have students shouting people down. If this is the climate that we're supposed to create, if this is supposed to create openness and tolerance on the campus, I'm missing the openness and tolerance in let's call the police if I'm mildly offended because my feelings have been hurt. I mean, this is creating a country of crazy people. How can you watch this and not go crazy and think that everyone who's involved in it is crazy in the first place?
How about that?
Thank you so much for having me, Tucker.
Oh, of course. This struck me when I read it as a pretty cowardly thing for you to say for a bunch of reasons, but mostly because it's so imprecise. Okay. You don't spell out what you mean. You say that that's interesting. Why is that interesting? Would it have been better if this guy, the murderer, had continued to hack people with a butcher knife? Is that what you're saying? What are you saying?
No, I'm saying, Tucker, what's cowardly is to make up a false narrative that I didn't say or even imply by saying that I was not impressed or I was dissatisfied with the police's work. And basically, that tweet was very vague. It was very neutral. It was basically a statement. It wasn't even my opinion. So for you to start off the segment saying that it was cowardly, that's disingenuous.
Look, I'm having you on to explain yourself, and I'm asking you, what did you mean by that? Is the guy,
and I'll be glad to do that.
Who shot this guy a hero, or isn't he?
I'll be glad to answer that, but I don't want to do the false narrative thing because that's just very disingenuous, and I like to bring truth to power.
The question.
Now, let me explain what I meant. Yeah. Okay. No, I didn't think that the guy was wrong for what he did. The guy was a hero. The comment wasn't meant to racialize the actual shooting and the event itself. When that happened, online, there were a lot of people who played the race card, and the minute they found out who the suspect was, they kept talking about black Somalian, then they started talking about Black Lives Matter, then they started talking about Obama, then they racialized it. So that's normal.
I'm sorry. Okay. So there's only so much I can take. I spent all afternoon listening to your podcast, which is the most racialized thing I think I've ever listened to in my life. And not
which is not true. Which is not true.
Let me say this. You
Try again, dickhead.
A series of tweets here noting the race and the nationality of the terrorist, and you also put quotes around the word terrorist. If you drive your car through a crowd of people and murder someone with a knife, are you not a terrorist? Why did you put quotes around?
I didn't say that the man. I didn't say that the man wasn't a terrorist. Tucker, are you going to say anything honest before we get the interview started, or it's just going to be a bunch of projection of your suspected white supremacist views?
The word terrorist. Okay.
Because I didn't know if the guy was a terrorist or not. I didn't know if he was a suspect. I didn't know if that was the only suspect. So I didn't have all the facts. I wanted to wait for all the facts to come in before I label people, which is what you should do.
Okay. If someone drives his car through a crowd of people, here's what we knew from the first moment this happened. A guy drove his car through a crowd of people, intentionally hitting them, and then he attacked one of them with a knife. What else do you need to know in order to conclude that man is committing an act of terrorism?
I think it's important to note that France is the modern architect of Islamophobia, and you can't discuss you can't discuss assimilation without first discussing how the culture of both state-sponsored and societal bigotry towards Muslims has really marginalized.
What they do?
You know, the 5 to 10 million Muslims in France. They did a range of things. They passed the 2004 headscarf ban, the 2010 niqab ban. You know, considerable legislation. Even before then, that really stigmatized and marginalized Muslims in France.
How are the French people, before I go back to Brigitte, supposed to get these Muslims to assimilate into their country, to become Frenchmen as opposed to Muslims?
Well, I think, first of all, we have to view French assimilation as being considerably distinct from American assimilation, right? In the France model, they essentially pose an ultimatum. You're either French or Muslim. There's no hybridized, hyphenated identities like we have here in the States. And that's a difficult decision for anybody, right?
Absolutely not true. I mean, look, there are so many different people from different cultures and different religions that immigrate to France and to different countries around the world. How come they assimilate? I mean, I can tell you from my own country of Lebanon, millions of people fled, and they settled in France, and they assimilated into French culture. French culture is open-minded. They are tolerant, just like any other Western culture. The problem is with Islamic immigration, no matter where they go, whether Australia, America, Canada, Europe, they are not assimilating, and to the contrary, the second generation is even becoming more radical than the first generation.
Damn! That shit good!
So this is a problem coming from the Islamic culture itself and their ideology, and has nothing to do with the nonsense Islamophobia that Arab pundits come on television and give us, and it's time to throw political correctness in the garbage where it belongs and start calling a spade a spade.